Welcome, everyone. It is Thursday, March 28th, 2019, and Mercury has gone direct. So it is time, when Mercury is retrograde, it's a time to be patient with ourselves and compassionate and step back a little bit in order to look at yourself in a new and positive light. Now that it's gone from retrograde to direct, it is time to step forward and move into spring and shine the way you're meant to be shining. Welcome to today's Facebook Live special event with Soul Wise Living. My name is Laura Clark. Welcome, Carol. My name is Laura Clark, your Soul Wise Living mentor, and I support you in slowing down a little bit to hear your inner intuition more consistently, understand it more clearly so that you can step forward more courageously, living your truth and fully loving your life. So today I am going to take you on a deep dive through your SQ. Your SQ. Your SQ is an assessment about where you are right now on your spiritual awakening journey. Whether you are gung-ho, you've got your foundation down and you're moving forward with ease and grace through the flow of personal growth, or whether you're just entering into that process of understanding who you are so that you can learn about your purpose and your passion and then step forward. This assessment really allows you to understand where you are at any given moment. And indeed, here's the beauty of this assessment, is that it will support you throughout the journey. I was just speaking with a group of people about our personal growth and development journey is not a straight line. It's not a bell curve that goes up and we soar and everything becomes light and fluffy. We are living this thing called life, and we have those pesky moments of self-doubt, and we have those events that can throw us off of center. So your SQ is going to shift and change. And why do I know this? Because I know that mine has shifted and changed. I know that my private clients' SQ shifts and changes as I work with them. And that's because we are human beings living in this we are spiritual beings living in this physical world. And so we are going to have those life circumstances where we have to step back and rely on our foundation and step back further into developing our faith and faith in the universe and trust in ourselves. So your SQ gives you that guidance. So you can take it, and yes, you can go from, there are 4 quadrants in the SQ. You can go from awakening to exploring to journeying to leading. But there might be a time when you go from awakening to journeying and then back to awakening because things have just gone wonky on you. It's okay. I've gone from leading, from a place of being very well grounded to leading, and then I have to sometimes take a step back and get back on my foundation and work on some of the basics to help support myself. So we all do that. And I wanted to take this time to go deeper into what each of these quadrants means for you so that you can celebrate where you are and know what the pitfalls are in each of these quadrants, because there are pitfalls, and know where best to begin to align yourself and what activities to do so that you can step forward courageously. So if you haven't gotten your SQ yet, I've put the link up in the title of the video so that you can go over and grab it and follow along. You actually don't have to take it right now. The beauty of this is it's not a simple, okay, I'm all lined up here, I'm all lined up here, I'm all like this. It's mixed and matched. So you won't know where you are until you do all of the tallying at the end. So you can get the deeper understanding of these quadrants right now and then go back and take it and align yourself. So what the SQ quiz is it's a 10 simple questions that you want to answer intuitively. In other words, you don't want to think about them. You want to answer them quickly, these questions, with the first hit that comes to you, all right? Because that is your first true hit, and 9 times out of 10, the truth is found in that initial response. So you don't have to take a lot of time to do this. I'll put an asterisk up there. These are great journaling questions to go deeper into individually. So you can also use it as that. Right? But just answer these really quickly. If you have, as explained in the SQ, if 2 of the answers resonate with you, that's okay. That's right. Score them evenly. And it talks about how to score this. So what happens is once you've taken the SQ and you've tallied everything up, you will put these, so you can see that, you will put your dots around here and you'll get this little line. So you might look at this and you might be like this. Okay. That's what your SQ might look like. So you might be really high over here in the scoring of the exploring, right? And you might be really low in the journaling, in the journeying quadrant. You're probably an exploring leader, right? So there are aspects of each of these that can be you, because we are morphing beings. But you might notice that you're not at all in the awakening sector, right? If you're not at all in the awakening sector, then don't pay any attention to that right now, right? If you have a life event that throws you completely off kilter and you take the SQ and you're found high up here over in the awakening section, it's only because the universe wants you to go back to basics. There are times we have to go back to basics, right? You're building a business and it's time to go back to basics because you've got a foundation, but you're going to launch a new product, right? You've got to start back at basics of, okay, let me get a sales page up. Let me get the product together. Let me start launching it, right? You're not going to just expect it to be out there. You have to go back to basics. It's the same with your spiritual growth and development. When you want to start something new, make sure your foundation is rock solid, okay? So you'll get this and you'll land in one of the quadrants. If you have any questions as I'm going along, throw them up in the chat and I will answer them for you. Okay? So once this SQ is revealed, then you know where you want to spend some time understanding yourself and interpreting your score. So we go back into the interpretation of your SQ, and that's where I want to spend some time this afternoon with you. Okay? I want to talk to you about each of the quadrants and a little bit more about what to expect in each quadrant, what to joyfully experience in each quadrant, and what obstacles to watch out for, what pitfalls. So we'll start at the beginning. If you are an awakening soul, it means that this is a time that's really magical, that you are like springtime, stepping forward and growing. And you need to be, you're ready. You're ready to stop the drama, right? You've seen the drama queens around you. You've seen the drama unfolding around you, and you want to step through that and allow it to. Drama is always going to be there. Sorry about that. Sorry to be like, the grim reaper of information, but drama is always going to be around you. But it's the ability to, you're ready to allow it to bounce off of yourself, and so you can step through it and maybe take that vibration of drama and put a plunger on it so that other people are supported. So you're ready to step out of that drama and that chaos in your mind and step into a place of peace of mind, which is an awakening spirit of learning to hear your own truth more and just being able to connect with it, right? Maybe hearing it a little bit more and stepping forward. At this time, what's really vital is to surround yourself with vibrant, uplifting people. Okay? Finding the groups, either online or in person, whose vibration are up there, who don't accept drama, who will listen to you with empathy and or sympathy and a lot of compassion, but not allow you to step back into that trauma, but will hold you accountable for moving forward. Those positive people that really look at that glass as not half empty, not half full, but always being filled. Always being filled with love and clarity and positivity. Those are the people that you really want to surround yourself with at this time. You want to learn, really focus on retraining your brain and going deeper into mindset work when you're in the awakening, because if you go into a leading soul quotient, if your brain isn't thinking positively or correcting your thoughts, because we all have thoughts, even the most focused and positive individuals out there have some negative thoughts. The difference is they know how to tweak it so that they can go forward positively. They know how to take that thought that they're having and reframe it in a positive way to move forward so that their vibration is continually uplifted, and they're sharing that in the world. It's the only difference between them and an awakening soul. They know, they've used the tools, they've used the techniques to do this. That's the difference. So in the awakening soul, you really want to spend some time with mindset. And that could be working with a mentor, that could be watching a lot of videos, it can be going into a meditative state where you're shifting the subconscious thoughts to conscious thoughts for yourself that vibrate high. You want to spend time in deeper reflection as well. You want to really start learning who you are on a soul level. What is your purpose on being here? Okay? And when I say that, I don't say it lightly. My purpose is to be a mom and to support my kids. Of course it is. If you're a mom, of course that is there. But that's not your sole purpose, because you had to learn an awful lot to get to that point of birthing them and then being with them. But then they become these independent creatures. And I say that with love, and off they go. And yes, you still mother at that point, but it's different. You need to have your own identity that is singular to you and your soul, and getting very, I use the word granular about understanding what your purpose is. Because when you do that, when you really understand what your purpose is, yes, you insert it to being a mom. But you also insert it into your business. You insert it into your relationships. You insert it into your community. You insert it into the checkout at the market. Right? When you know your purpose, it bubbles up from you, and you cannot deny it any longer. Let me repeat that. When you know your purpose, it bubbles up, and you can't deny it, and everybody else sees it, and it's beautiful. So you want to really discover that unique purpose for yourself. And it's a great time when you're in the awakening soul to release clutter in your life. Just really start honing in on releasing clutter. And I mean the physical clutter around you. And I'm doing some spring cleaning of files right now, so I've got some physical clutter around me. But also the clutter of your mind, those thoughts that no longer serve you, start retraining them so that they get released into the universe. Your emotions, unclutter your emotions. Maybe this is a time when you want to declutter your physical self and do a cleanse. Really look at where you are and start decluttering, because I guarantee you, as you start this spiritual growth journey, the cleaner your body can be, your mind can be, your emotions can be, the quicker you will get to that peace of mind aspect for yourself. Common traps during this time. Oh my gosh, there are a lot of them, but I want to single out a few of them for you. I think the single most challenge is not having the courage to step forward. The confidence, just you start wanting to, and then it's like Mercury in retrograde. When you're in Mercury in retrograde, you step 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, right? So when you're an awakening soul, it's about wanting to develop that confidence piece in you. Hi, Diane Kane. Thank you for joining. So that's a common trap when you are in an awakening soul sector of this quadrant. Thank you. She says, I look lovely. Another piece of where you are during this time is not trusting that things will be rearranged and you can co-create with the universe. Because you are just starting out, that trust factor is minimal. Right? So we really want to spend some time when you're an awakening soul to develop the faith and confidence in yourself, as well as the trust in the universe. Right? Another big pitfall of this time period for yourself, and I raise my hand because I spent way too much time in the awakening quadrant because you rely on self-help books. Right? There are great, I love all the self-help books. I get golden nuggets out of them all of the time. But what happens when you haven't developed the confidence and you don't have the trust yet, and you start buying all these self-help books, they become shelf-help books. And they become shelf-help books fast and quickly, and then your confidence goes even further down. I read that book, it doesn't work. So I got another one, and I read it, and it says that, I can manifest anything, and it doesn't work, so I put it on the shelf. Okay? I read that book too. I read that book. That book, it says that I can be resilient. It doesn't work. And your confidence starts going down because you're not actually doing the work. You're only reading. And, I was talking with a friend of mine, and she said, Laura, the one thing I love about you is you tell it as it is, and you're truthful. And what I'm saying today might, tug on your heartstring a little bit, but I don't want your gathering of all these self-help books to become shelf-help and pull your confidence down. Get a self-help book, get one, and start working it. Start doing the work in it. Do the exercises. A good self-help book has exercises. It just doesn't have information. It has journaling prompts. Do those journaling prompts and work through it, because that will elevate you from an awakening soul in the soul quotient into the next step. Right? So that's the awakening soul. Let's talk about the exploring soul. And again, this is the soul quotient. We're going from an awakening over here down to exploring over here. All right, over here, exploring. Okay? And when you take the soul quotient, you will see that your numbers go out. Right, they go out. So the higher the score places you in that particular quadrant, and that's where you are right now. Again, life circumstances may happen and you may shift out of that quadrant, and that's okay. It just is a reminder that you may go on a transformational retreat and go from, oh my gosh, I've got all of this juicy information, and yes, I'm releasing all this baggage, and you're stepping forward. You can easily go from one quadrant to another, just like that. Okay? A life event can happen, and you easily can go back into another quadrant, just like that. That's okay. This is just a reminder of where you are, what you should be doing when you're in that particular quadrant, and the pitfalls of that quadrant. Okay? So now let's move on to the exploring soul. This is when you've really cultivated and created a certain practice that is supporting you to hear your intuition more clearly and begin to understand it more consistently. Okay, so that might be yoga, it might be a meditation, it may be sacred soul journaling, it may be A Course in Miracles, It may be that you've really cultivated the practices that help you hear your intuition more clearly and consistently. You're getting those, as some people say, hits, downloads, ahas. I used to call them just thoughts, right? They're thoughts, right? But it's really more than that. It's that intuitive hit, that inner wisdom. Okay? And you're gaining the confidence. You're getting the confidence, and you're beginning to take those courageous steps forward. And you're doing this with curiosity. You're doing this where you're like, gee, I wonder what's all around there. Huh, I wonder what's over here. Huh, oh, I'm excited. I'm going to go over here. What's underneath this rock? Right? And you're beginning to explore your own self-awareness, right? And you're beginning to see things very differently. It's like the flower that has come up, you've nurtured the seeds, and the flower starts blossoming, and you start looking around with curiosity. You're like, oh my gosh, this is a really cool world. This is really cool. The drama has decreased. Your peace of mind has come around. So this is a great time to start aligning your purpose with your passions. So when I say that, knowing your purpose and being able to align it with your passions. So an example, my purpose is to awaken wisdom. Everywhere I go, my purpose is to awaken wisdom. I can put that into my needle pointing passion. Okay? I get something, a needle point, that wakes up my passions. I love needle pointing. You know, it's very therapeutic for me. But if I'm needle pointing a rocket bomb or a gun, that's not going to serve me. Right? But if I'm needle pointing a piece of the lake for my lake life, that's going to keep, awakening my own wisdom. I can go meditate into my needle pointing and come out with ahas. So I'm aligning my purpose with my passion there. I do it with my business, right? I support awakening wisdom. I put it into my business every time I sit down at the desk, every time I connect with a client. You can insert your passion, your purpose, with the passion of shopping, right? Well, yeah, if you like to shop, and get new beautiful high heels for spring. My case, it's flip-flops. Right? You can insert your passion into that. Right? And you want to start aligning this and see where those alignments are, because when you hit that journeying and that leading, you really need to have that integrated for yourself. When you're in the exploring stage, stay curious, right? Allow yourself to understand that this is a lifelong journey, that you don't say, I'm spiritual awakened. I am. I got it all figured out and I don't have to do any more work, because you do. Because we are living this existence here on earth, right? And you want to stay curious all of the time. So you have to understand here that spiritual awakening and self-growth is this, right? It's highs, it's got some lows. It's not the straight line. It's not this. There are highs and lows. Understand that in this point. Begin to know that viscerally. Begin to understand your intentions clearly. When you step through the portal of self-growth and awareness, you are going to see that the way you have lived may not have served other people. You may have inserted your own desires, your own ego, your own outcomes into manipulating others. And that's okay, because that's where you were. But now you need to understand that your intentions are clearer, they're cleaner, they're crisper, they're filled with compassion, and they're filled with love. And when you see, as your own sacred observer, that your intentions are not aligned with your purpose, you just step back from them. And that's okay. You just step back and you say, Dear universe, please help align my intentions for the highest good of all. And you start stepping forward. I have a client who, she's a past client, who wanted her kids to go off to college A, college B, college C. Because for her, that meant A, B, and C, and she was very clear and she had a lot of convictions over where her children were to go. And we had to do a lot of work saying, those are your intentions. Those are your beliefs. Those are your desires. Is that truly for the highest good of you? I'll repeat that. Was that truly for the highest good of you? Because if her children are going off to the colleges that best suit them, it is for her, it's better for her highest good, that they're happy, that they are motivated. If they're going from her college A to their college, it's their 10th choice, they're not going to be happy. They're not going to be healthy. They're not going to be well adjusted. And that's going to not serve Mama Bear. So Mama Bear had to recreate her intentions for sending her kids off to school. And we worked hard on that, and she flourished through that. So we really have to look, when you're in exploring soul, at your intentions and making sure that they line up with your purpose and your passion for the highest good of everyone. Common traps during this time. Oh my goodness. How many of you have ever heard of a bright, shining object? There is so much wonderful transformational information out there that you want to sign up for every single great program that comes around. Right? So you have to be careful of the bright, shiny object syndrome, because you will get overwhelmed and start retreating when you have all of this information. And I'll give you an example from my own life. Back when, we're going back to 15 years, 20 years, I was introduced to A Course in Miracles. At the same time, I was going through an interior alignment practitioner program. And I was like, I need the Course in Miracles. Oh my gosh, I want the Course in Miracles. It's time for me to get the Course in Miracles, right? And I did, and it didn't serve because it was so full of great stuff, but I couldn't wrap my brain around it, because in A Course of Miracles, they break down your ego. At the same time, I was taking interior alignment about the energy of the glasses. A Course in Miracles, you look at the glasses and they don't define anything at the beginning. I didn't know that, because I'm looking at, and I was at the beginning, I hadn't gone through the 365 days, but I'm in interior alignment. Oh my gosh, energy is everything. Right? So at this point in time, the exploring soul, make sure that you don't go after the bright shining objects. Make sure that you just keep studying one thing at a time and get that piece underneath your belt. Allow limiting beliefs to get in your way of transformation is another huge pitfall at this time. Work on your limiting beliefs. We all have them. We all have them. Right? If you're a human being, if you have skin and you're breathing air, you will have a limiting belief. It's just that other people have gotten through a lot of their obstacles at like the leading quotient. Right here, it's a bigger pitfall for you when you're in the exploring quadrant. Another big challenge in the exploring quadrant, and I see this in my clients, I see this in the Living Your Truth Sisterhood members all the time, is being frustrated at the pace of growth and the pace of manifestation. They want it now, or now and tomorrow, right? But they don't want to have to go through the obstacles. They don't want to have to go over the hurdles. They just want it now. Right? And now happens at different stages. Right? Now can happen. You can manifest something very quickly. It may take a couple of days to manifest that. Powerball is at, as of last night, $750 million, right? So of course my big guy went out and he bought a couple of tickets, and we were having our dreams last night, right? And we can manifest that in. We may not be ready for that. Who's ready for $750 million, right? Right? So I'm pretty sure. I don't believe that we're going to win. I know the universe is. We are not ready to have all of that money flow to us, and I'm very hopeful that the universe is rearranging itself so we don't win, right? Because we have some limiting beliefs we have to get over. Because you know what? The pace to have that amount of money requires some more growth from us. So know that things are being manifested for you right now at a pace that you can believe in, have faith in, have trust in, and can accept the responsibility of what is being manifested for you. So that is the exploring soul. The next soul is the journeying soul. Right? Here, I love the journeying soul. I love all the quadrants, but here you have the ability, because of the work that you've done, the foundation, to breathe through those pesky moments of self-doubt, to get through the obstacles and hurdles of life with greater ease, flow, and transition. Because you have that foundation below you. You've done the work. You've worked with a mentor. You've done some self-growth and development programs. You've done that foundation, and you are ready to step forward. And what comes along, but it doesn't set you back. You are, when that breeze comes, you stay straight and centered, or you pull off and you can come back very quickly. At this time, it's really wonderful if you can do a deep dive retreat for yourself. If you can look at your habits and your patterns from being your own sacred observer. You can hear your speech. You can hear your reactions. You can see yourself realigning for the next step that is going to be for your highest good. And it's great to go even further into that, because limiting beliefs will start falling off of you with great speed. It's a great time to strengthen that and be able to watch yourself more clearly. It's a great time because now you're hearing your intuition more clearly. You understand its message, because intuition speaks to us not in English and not in Spanish and not in Japanese and not in French. It speaks to us in its own language. And my intuition's language is very different than your intuition's language. And it's different than my dog's intuition's language. Okay? But you have created your own dictionary of this intuition conversation that is being fed to you. And now you know what it says, and you start stepping forward courageously. It's a great time to really get connected with a sacred circle of like-minded, spiritual, awakened individuals, because the conversation is elevated. Pitfalls during this time is to try to go it alone, right? Go it alone. I'm journeying. I've got all this down. I can do it. I can get from here to there, wherever there is, all by myself. And here's what I know. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to get anywhere by yourself. We are, by nature, social beings. We are by nature wanting to be in relationship with people. And when I say people, some people like one or two people. Some people like big groups. But find that group. Don't go it alone, right? Because when you hit some of those challenges, you become, you get a sense of feeling isolated. You get a sense of feeling lonely. Indeed, you're walking a path that many, 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 many people don't walk. And you need to energy up yourself and protect your energy from a lot of that negative vibration in the world. And to do that, being around people who support you unconditionally as best we can as human beings is vital. So don't go it alone when you're in the journeying soul. Another common pitfall common pitfall is to stop what you're doing that's working. So if you are a journaler and you get a lot of ahas from the power of your pen, it's a pitfall to step away from your journaling. If you go into hypnosis, if you've been doing a lot of hypnosis, it's a pitfall to stop. You don't stop what's working for you. You enhance what's working for you. You may shift it to see what's happening. Here's a great example. I was working with somebody who released a lot of weight. I mean, a lot of weight. And she was feeling great about herself, and she was awakening, and she was transitioning her mindset about her body, and she started eating gluten. Right? And she's allergic to gluten. And she started eating that, and she started gaining weight, and the inflammation started coming back. And she goes, "Oh, I'm doing everything. I've done everything." And, well, you need to keep doing that. You need to stay on a gluten-free diet in order for inflammation not to come back to that particular body, right? So you don't stop what's working for you when you're on a spiritual journey, right? Especially when you're in the journeying quadrant of the soul quotient. It's imperative to continue to hone your skills. The other pitfall that right now during this period of time for you can be to stop investing in your growth. And that's a pitfall that happens every single time. All right, every single time I see it, you get to a point and you stop investing, and then all of a sudden you say to yourself, well, why is the pace not happening quicker, right? Which means you're going from journeying to exploring, which means you're not having faith and trust because you're not continuing to elevate your vibration. And so it's really, really, really important to continually invest in yourself during the spiritual awakening journey that you're on. What that does, that investment, it decreases this highs and lows of your journey and allows the wonkiness and that wobbling to be a little bit easier for yourself. So those are the first three quadrants of the soul quotient: the awakening, the exploring, and the journeying. And I want to stop here for a second, get some water, and talk about kind of the golden thread that goes through those three quadrants is investing in yourself in a way that supports you, whether that is by working with a mentor, whether that's by getting one self-help book and going forward through it and really doing that work in that one self-help book rather than have 18 around you so that you can stay linearly focused on developing that skill, whatever it is in there, whether it's resiliency, whether it's numerology, whether it's courage creation, whether it's mindset work, whether it's feng shui. But it's the golden thread in these three is to really stay focused and really allow yourself to have that inner quest path going forward, right? And getting support and help. Sometimes that's one-on-one guidance. Mostly that's when you're in awakening, whether it's small group, which is in exploring, or whether it's a larger group when you're in the journeying quadrants. Whether it's working on one concept to keep that foundation, growing that foundation. Certainly in the awakening, you want to make sure that the foundation has been cemented, right? So that when you get to the journey and you're adding sprouts on it, think about the flower that's coming up, right? The flower, crocus, right? The crocus come up, but they come up in a cluster, right? So that there's this foundation underneath it. And then as it starts blooming, you have more brilliance, right? So there's more things to focus on as you start blooming, as you start going through this path. you can one thing blooms and then another and then another, and it becomes exponential for you. Okay. So one of the things that I know you can do is a lot of this. The other thing that I know is sometimes taking a dive into it and getting away from what's around you, and going a little deeper supports you, especially when you're looking at your own self-awareness and your own purpose. Right? So I am offering an inner quest retreat at the end of April. It's on a historic farm here in New England, in Rhode Island. There's a pond. We're going to immerse in the 4 elements, which is a great foundation for everybody, how earth, air, water, and fire support you, and doing a lot of exercises around that to experience what I'm telling you, right? Because an experience will give you more ahas and more insight than just learning from a book, right? Or from a teacher. It's the experience. We'll also look at your birth triumvirate, which is the birth code, if you will, of when you came down here and how that supports you and how you can align that with the energies of the universe. We will go on some soul explorations, which is a deep guided meditation process that I've developed that helps support you to hear that inner wisdom. And we're going to create steps forward for when you leave so that you can courageously go feeling completely supported afterward. So I threw the link into the chat if you want to take a look at that and have any questions about it, reach out to me. That is, I'm offering one on a weekend for those people who have obligations during the week, and then I have another one being offered during the week for those people who want to keep their obligations, their weekend obligations to themselves, but come during the week. So that's in there for you. Those are the 3 quadrants. The 4th quadrant of the soul quotient is the leading soul, right? Here you're really connected to your inner wisdom. You can hear it very consistently, understand it very clearly. You're mastered or mastering the language of your own intuition, and you're stepping forward courageously. You are leading, you're setting the example of how a soul-wise life can allow you to live your truth that's connected with your purpose, where you are passionately and fully loving your life. That's the leading soul. At this time, it's best to continue the quest journey and go deeper into hearing that, because the messages that you hear on that inner quest are profound because you truly understand it. There's no misinformation coming through. It's a great time to widen your array of spiritual awakening tools, expand that. You have the bandwidth, if you will, to understand that, and to find ways to integrate these new tools into your life, into using them, whether it's embracing the power of the pendulum, right, or muscle kinesiology to get those answers, those quick answers, learning and studying that. Whether it's learning and studying how to conduct your own inner quest, whether it's learning and studying how to support others finding their intuition more clearly. A lot of people, when you're a leading soul, are already working with people in a coaching capacity, whether that means you are the director of a group at a business, or whether you are a business coach, or whether you are a real estate agent that oversees the management of an office. You are already in a leadership position and you're just ready to amp that up a little bit. It's a great time to really do a deep investment, work one-on-one with an executive coach or with a soul coaching practitioner who can really quickly see the hurdles that you are hitting up against, because when you're leading, you still hit up against hurdles and you still face some obstacles that, while you've released a lot of limiting beliefs, those that you're still holding on to are typically the ones that are holding on with a deeper grasp. All right. So it's about continuing education for yourself. During this time, traps. Ignore the calling to become a spiritual teacher. Well, I'm a real estate agent. I don't want to lead, but you keep hearing that. Yes, you need to lead spiritually and soulfully, but you keep yourself in the box. You're not allowing yourself to show up fully. You step further away from self-mastery at this point, your own self-mastery, as you begin to teach others. That could be a common pitfall of being a leader, is that you've hit a level of mastery, right? And you're now teaching that, but you're not growing either. And what will happen is you will stagnate. You will, I'm thinking of one particular client of mine who, she's a leader and she teaches self-growth and self-awareness and spiritual tools, but she stopped learning. She stopped learning about herself and she stopped learning new tools, and she got bored. You get bored. You're like, okay. I liken the leader to being the quintessential. One thing, a leader, all of the leaders that I've ever met who are successfully continuing are the quintessential people that can take that continued education all the time. That why you've hit that level. Why are you continuing? Because I want to go deeper. I want to go deeper. One of my family members say, why do you keep investing in yourself, Laura? That's a lot of. I spent a lot of money on this spiritual growth and development and self-awareness journey. I've spent a lot of money because I know myself. I will get bored, which means that I will transition into some of those less becoming traits that I've released because of that. I will allow some negative energy to start seeping in because I'm not filling up. I'm not fueling. So a lot of things start seeping out, and I haven't been able to create that buffer for myself. So it's really important when you become a leader to continue that self-mastery. The biggest pitfall I think I see in leaders is that they start teaching others without the proper foundation. And what I mean by that is, yes, leaders have a lot of information and insight, but they don't have the rock solid foundation of being able to stand strong in and of themselves and have the place to fall back on. So I have a colleague who is an Akashic Records reader, right? And she's great because she's got that foundation to go back to because she's mastered it and she's centered it. And she's actually teaching other people that. But she has that foundation. I've seen a lot of soul coaching practitioners. I've seen a lot of people go through the soul coaching 28-day curriculum. And then they go out and they start self-teaching it, but they haven't mastered the foundation of it. I've seen a lot of people take, I'm looking over at my spiritual awakening books. I've seen a lot of people, I have a crystal primer, and this is a great example. I have a crystal primer there it's great. It's a crystal dictionary. I grab it all the time. I need insights. But if I were to start teaching that, I don't have the breadth of foundation in it. It's not my wheelhouse. But I see when you're leading that the biggest pitfall is that they feel like they have to pretend that they have all of this knowledge, right? Because they haven't hit that next level. The leading soul is a beautiful soul. It's that person who's ready to really embrace that they are a spiritual being, and share that with everybody and anybody around them. They're no longer hiding it, but they still need to enhance their foundation. Whether they're a business coach or that real estate agent, they want tools and techniques to grow from. So one of the best support mechanisms I can offer that person is to go through a soul coaching practitioner training program with me. And from there, they can take those tools and embrace, not necessarily putting up a shingle, although they may want to say, oh, I love doing what you do, Laura. So I'm going to take the training program and become a soul coaching practitioner. Wonderful. But they might say, no, I just need these tools to help support people who are already in my life, who are already my clients, who are my future clients, with a foundation that allows them to be brighter people, that allows them to shine their own light. That the leading soul is somebody who takes these trainings and allows others to have their lamp lit by them. So I've trained a couple of soul coaching practitioner trainers who have no intention ever of being a soul coaching, quote unquote, practitioner. They've taken the information and they've reinserted it into what they do, and I love that. So I'm doing that privately with people now. If that's something that speaks to you, just reach out to me and I can have a deep conversation with you about that. So this is what your soul quotient is. It's 4 quadrants. It's the awakening soul, the exploring soul, the journeying soul, and the leading soul. And at any given time, as a recap here, at any given time, that can shift and change, and that's okay. And I want to make sure that you're aware of that, because, and I'll use myself, I love using myself as an example, only because I think it makes things real for people, other than me sharing a client story or a mentor story. There are times in my life I feel like I'm a leading soul, and I land in that quadrant. But there are times when something comes and it hits me, and I go back to being an explorer. And I'm like, okay, I need to refuel myself and allow myself to lead over here, but really focus in on what the exploring soul is. And I had one of those times last fall where I needed to sit back and really do some deep excavation of my soul's truth, so that I can step forward in integrity, in my purpose, and be passionate about it. Okay? Because the last thing you want to do is to step forward courageously when you're out of alignment, because that serves no one, especially yourself. So really, understanding your soul quotient, bottom line, is about being in alignment for yourself. It's about being able to stay centered and have peace of mind with a high vibration, so that you can step forward passionately living your truth and fully loving your life. Because when you do, not only is that for your own highest good and you're happy and you're healthy, it's for the highest good of everybody around you. Your partner, your spouse, husband, wife, whatever you call that, if you have it, or for the one that's coming to you that you want to attract to you, for your family, for your community, for the colleagues around you, if you work one-on-one with people, for those people. When you are doing things that are in alignment with your purpose and you do them passionately, they're for your own highest good. But that's for the highest good of everybody. And that's what courageous living is all about. And that's what stepping forward, living your truth will do for you. And I hope that this has helped clarify your where you are on your journey. Again, you can I actually would redo your soul quotient about every turning point in your life, whether that's seasonally or each year, or there's been a big shift in your life, because that will help you understand where you are, what the best next steps are for you, and how to courageously avoid the pitfalls and continue your process so that you have that even keel underneath your own sailboat. All right. So I hope that this has helped. If you have any questions at all, one of the best ways through Facebook to reach me, as this is a Facebook Live, if you're here live, or if you're listening to the recording, is to private message me on Facebook about any questions that you had, or any insights or any ahas. I'd love to hear those too, or any ways that I can help support you figuring out what the next best steps are in terms of your own growth, whether that's working with somebody, myself, or another person, or going on a retreat, or a program. I have a wealth of information about that too, and I'm willing to share that as well. So I hope this has helped you. It is the height of the hour, and the sun is still out there, and my dogs are at the door because they know it's recess time for them. So I am going to let them out and enjoy the fresh air. I hope that whatever you are doing on this transition from Mercury in retrograde to Mercury going direct supports you, and that you have a thriving Thursday and wonderful rest of the weekend. Have a great time. Talk to you soon. Bye.